We go now to Fox 4's Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Dan Henry, joined by Mark Fox from the National Weather Service. Dan.
Yeah, Mark is the warning coordination meteorologist for the National Weather Service office in Fort Worth. Has been doing incredible work along with his colleagues there for literally the last several weeks now. Mark, kind enough to join us after surveying the damage in Van. A very difficult storm to warn on. It was at night.
Right.
This storm didn't look very impressive as it was approaching Van.
Absolutely not. Reflectivity was just kind of a little bit of a blob there. We could see a little bit of rotation. We'd also seen a lot of rotation most of the day. Sometimes it produced a tornado, sometimes it didn't. And this also was a storm that was not coming in from the southwest. It's coming in almost due south to due north. So kind of a strange storm all the way around.
And very few spotters on it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the video here and roll this. Just give me your impressions as you look at some of the aerial damage here.
A lot of this, you can see the path, and you can see a lot of tarps. We've got some houses with parts of the roof missing. And we also had a couple of houses in there that very little was standing except for the interior walls. So a lot of the damage in through here. We've got a little bit of some house damage and just a lot of debris, a lot of missiles, a lot of targets for this thing to hit as it moved in from the south about 9 miles or so.
And no doubt seeing some of the damage here, EF3 damage, winds, you're estimating around 140
around
miles an hour.
140 or so, and that's going to be able to do quite a bit of damage here. So it's not the fact that the wind's blowing at 130 miles per hour, it's what it's blowing at 130 to 140 miles per hour.
All right, let's take a look at some ground damage now. I want to show you, this is a picture that Mark actually took. And as we take a look at that, all that's left here is the interior room.
This really shows that we preach over and over and over. I've heard you say it as well. Interior room, smallest place that you can get, no windows. And this really shows what's going on, because the only thing left with this home, this is one of the homes that we rated at EF3. The only thing that's left is this middle part here. So this is the place you want to be. Of course, the better place to be is way away from the whole thing, but unfortunately, or fortunately, the fatality was not in that home. It was survivable. And a lot of these places that we saw, there's a lot of trash, there's a lot of debris. There's not a great place to be in a tornado, but the best place, small room, interior, no windows.
Yeah, and throughout the course of the day, we were getting a lot of advance warning on these storms, but again, this was a tough one. This didn't intensify until really late, till it approached. You got the warning out, but these folks only had a few minutes to react. And I guess we want to tell folks at home that you're not always going to get a long lead time, 10, 12, 15 minutes. Sometimes you may only have a couple minutes to react.
And unfortunately, that was the case here. You've only got a few minutes to act, and once you do so, you want to make sure you're acting appropriately. The warning was out, the sirens went off, the wireless emergency alerts went off, and then the damage hit. So you can't wait to see the tornado, you can't wait to hear the sirens, you've got to act. You got to take these things very seriously.
Let's transition to the other big story from last night, and that was the terrible flooding. Mark, I have never heard your local office issue a flash flood emergency, but last night we needed one.
That was our first one. Corsicana definitely fit that bill. You don't want to pull the emergency card too often, because if everything's an emergency, nothing is, but this definitely was the time to use that, because we did have a fatality here, but because of the warning and the advance notice and the folks down in Navarro County and Corsicana, we kept that to a very minimum.
Yeah, one of my colleagues was in Corsicana last night. He said there was no way out of town, and he described it as being extremely scary.
I can imagine that. Plus, it's night, you can't really see, and that is one of those things, and with the flooding going on, that's one of the deadliest things from thunderstorms, and people sometimes tend to forget that.
And of course, Corsicana wasn't the only area hard hit by flooding. We saw that in Crum, we saw it in Sanger. We had the dramatic rescues by the Army, U.S. Army National Guard helicopter. Here's two gentlemen on top of their car, and people are always surprised how fast the floodwaters come up.
Yeah, how fast it comes up, how powerful it really can be. This is pretty much proof that it's going to take a pickup truck, it's going to take a car, anything else, and you don't want to be in this situation for sure. But luckily there are some people out there that will come help out.
One more piece of tape here I want to go to, and As we look ahead now to the remainder of the week, what is your biggest concern weather-wise?
This is my biggest concern weather-wise. Next couple of days, we do have a chance for some thunderstorms, but flooding is going to be the biggest concern out there. We're saturated. That's a good thing because the lakes are filling up, but it's a bad thing because a little bit more rain coming down hard, it's going to aggravate this already bad situation.
And it looks like Wednesday may be the first day coming up that we get widespread heavier rain. Low and severe weather threat, but as you said, even a moderate or heavy shower could certainly cause some flooding.
It's not going to take a whole lot. So a heavy rain comes down, it's going to aggravate what's already out there.
Mark Fox from the National Weather Service, always appreciate your work.
No
Thank
problem.
you for coming in.
Thanks a lot, Dan.